So you've been in the pool industry for a pretty long time. Have you noticed any changes in water chemistry? Like, it seems like phosphates have become a pretty significant problem.
I would certainly agree that in the last number of years, all of a sudden phosphates are the big thing. The big cause for algae blooms is because the phosphate in the water is really the food for the algae, and you get a lot more algae bloom. I suspect that phosphates were always in the water and they were always there and not as big of a deal. Now, maybe it's a marketing push, and to some respect, I don't know, where here's a way that we can sell a product to remove something. But it also could just be that we've been made aware of, and experimentation has shown that phosphates are really the food for the algae in the water. And maybe at some point, I can say that I didn't know that at one point in my career, but in recent years, it's become such a big thing. And it may also be because we've become more conscientious about chlorine use and allergies. Allergies have blossomed and everyone's got an allergy to chlorine, so they don't want to use chlorine. So there's all these other reasons to try to investigate what's going on, where years ago, you shocked it with chlorine, breakpoint chlorine. Sometimes you hit it hard to take care of it, and it usually did. Today, the consumer doesn't accept that because everybody's allergic to something and they don't like that much chlorine and they don't like it bleaching their clothing, and it's just a whole different customer. So to answer the question, phosphates were probably always somewhat of a concern. I think they've become more of a concern now as we become more conscientious and more worried about things. We worry about a lot. We didn't worry about nearly as much 20 years ago as we worry about today. And pool chemistry is something that we have become more worrisome about. And I don't necessarily like that. If I was in the retail game where I could sell more chemicals, and that might make sense, but it doesn't, because that's still not the right way to handle it. So things are becoming more micromanaged and micro aware. We're aware of everything, and phosphates is one of those.